Hi everybody, how's it going today? I'm in our telehandler here. It's Thursday today. Going to unload a load of baleage that came in this morning. It's a really nice day. It's been 30s here the last couple of days. We got up to 30. I think it was like 36, maybe 37 yesterday. Felt like a heat wave coming out of it. Was negative, what was it, negative 15 to negative 20 we had 2 nights in a row. And it's gonna be nice today, and then we'll start cooling off again with another negative 25 now in the forecast in like 4 days. A little bit strange, but nice to get a little break from the cold. I'm out back here. We leveled this area, this clay area off here to store some bales, and been getting some bales in pretty steadily here. A few hundred here stacked already. They bring about, depending on the moisture of the bales, they'll bring about 30 to 36 bales on a load. So we'll get him unloaded. It's mid-morning here, then he's going to head back and get another load for this afternoon. I want to mount you guys on the telehandler, but one of Ian or Eli must have broken the nut off this mount that I have. So I'll try to show you a couple bales here while I'm holding the camera. If I can do this one-handed. So grab one bale at a time. These bales, depending on the moisture, depending on the dry matter of the alfalfa, they'll weigh anywhere from 1,500 pounds to maybe a little over 2,000 pounds. Generally, I think they try to not have them over 2,000 pounds because that just gets to be too heavy. It's not quite as easy to stay steady with one hand. And essentially, the reason we're doing this is we don't want to damage the plastic. Because it's alfalfa silage in a bale is essentially what it is. Baleage. Baleage is what we call it, but it's alfalfa silage in a bale. So you don't want air getting in those bales because then it'll start spoiling. So we're trying to keep them, prevent from putting holes in the bales. A lot of times when we stack, we'll stack them 2 wide, sometimes we'll stack them 3 wide. And then we'll go, like you see there, 4 high, side by side with 1 on top. Bales that I'm unloading here at the moment, these are actually some of the last bales of 2023. So we've got maybe, I think it's about 5 lots of 2023 baleage left. We're currently feeding 1 lot of 2024 baleage and 1 lot of 2023 baleage to the cows. Just about half-half, feeding a little more of the 2023 at the moment, just the way it worked out with the quality of the 2 lots. All these individually wrapped bales, they are purchased from a farmer that we've worked with for quite a long time, over 10 years at this point. So we have a contract with them for a certain amount of bales, and we pay them based on the quality of the alfalfa. So each load is, or each lot of bales is sampled by them, and then our nutritionist John will sample them as well on the farm, just to make sure the test is accurate for one, and also we pay based on the average of the 2 tests. Try to make it as accurate as possible. Just finished unloading that load here. I'll show you guys here quickly. So all of these lots, they're labeled. So M2, B3. M is the field, 2 is the cutting, so second cutting, and then B is the section of the field. So it would have, depending on how big their field is, they'd do either it'd be just as one lot, or they'll do A and B, or A, B, and C, and then 3 is for 2023. So all of our lots of baleage are labeled like that, just so that we can keep track of what's what, and then also to keep the lots somewhat smaller so that we don't end up with a lot of 200 or 300 bales or 400 bales if it's a really big field, because then you can have a lot of variation within that field. And a lot of times on a field that big, they'll cut it at different times so that they don't get too far ahead of themselves when they're baling it. I'm a big fan of baleage. Well, maybe head over to our feeding area. I'll show you guys what the bales look like after we cut them open. But baleage, in my opinion, really good cow feed, and it makes it a little bit easier to make high quality alfalfa. They don't have to worry as much about the weather trying to get hay dried down. You have less loss because you're not trying to make dry hay, so you don't lose the leaves. And even compared to haylage, in my opinion, you have less loss with baleage, because even when you're making haylage, you're losing some, you've got some shrink in the field, and then you've also have some shrink as you're feeding it out, where with baleage there is essentially no shrink, zero shrink, because whatever's in that bale when it's baled, that's what comes out when we open it up, and that's what gets fed to the cows. So it's yeah, really high quality feed for the cows. And personally, I like that it has some moisture in it. I think the cows, it's a little more palatable for the cows when it's got some moisture in it versus being dry hay. Dry hay, it can be, you know, the stems can be hard, pokey, where with the baleage it's soft and more palatable. Easier, in my opinion, easier for the cow to digest. I don't know if there's any data to support that, but another factor is if we had dry hay, we would need to store it inside or under tarps. They make about 3,500 to 4,000 bales for us per year, so we would need a pretty good size shed, probably another shed the size of the one that we have our straw bales in, to store all that alfalfa indoors. And you would definitely want to store it indoors if you were storing it to feed out throughout the year. So not needing to worry about having to cover these piles of bales or putting it inside a shed, that's got some value to it as well. But we'll head over to our feeding area. I'll show you guys quick what these bales look like after we cut them open. Back by our feeding area here now. There's our payloader, our feed wagon just on the other side of this wall. So this is what these bales look like. This is a 2023 baleage. So you'll get the odd spots, like here you can see it. Odd spots of mold, like there's a little bit right here. But it's just on the outside of the bale. It typically doesn't penetrate into the bale. There likely was a little hole there, pinhole, or maybe the plastic wasn't quite overlapped properly, or some of the plastic came off as they were moved, whatever it might have been. But generally these bales look really nice on the inside like this. We're actually always feed 2 lots of baleage mixed together to the milking cows. So this is a 2023 baleage, I think it's 170 some relative feed value. And then this is 2024 baleage. These are bales that our feeder has cut the plastic off. They still have the twine on. Normally they'd sit here side by side, but he must have finished whatever he had prepared that was sitting here. So we always make the baleage ready to use the day prior. So this afternoon our feeder will prepare the bales for tomorrow's feeding. And we're currently feeding quite a bit of alfalfa because we've got quite an inventory. So we're still feeding 2023 baleage, and we're already in 2025. So we have fed quite a few lots of 2024 as well already, but we do have quite a bit of inventory. So we're feeding probably about not So we're feeding about 18 to 20 bales of alfalfa to our milking cows a day, to our entire milking herd, which normally or typically we'd be maybe around the 14, 15 bales, kind of depends, but just feeding up some of this baleage. I don't think I mentioned it, but I think these bales, these are really good quality. These are like 220 plus or something relative feed value. So we generally don't feed to baleages that high a quality. We're typically trying to shoot for an average of like 180, but we're right in the middle of making a baleage change. So tomorrow, probably in the afternoon or so, with the last load in the afternoon, we'll be going to a new baleage. And then in about 4 days, the other baleage will be finished. So as we're feeding more alfalfa, we go through the lots a little quicker, so we're making a baleage change probably about once a week, I would say. I shared some of the positives with you guys about baleage, but always there's always negatives as well. So I'll show you guys here quick. So these are bales for tomorrow. We have to cut all the plastic off, and then we have to move them, take the plastic off the bottom, cut the twine off. So there's some work to these bales. We're not able to or we don't have an option for recycling this plastic at the moment, so it's a lot of garbage, a lot of trash, and it's also can be pretty hard on the mixer. So all these bales are processed by our Supreme feed wagon. So any sizing, the majority of the sizing, they do have knives in their balers, but the pieces are still plenty long. I can show you that quick. But any sizing that's done after it's been baled is done by our feed wagon. So you can see there's still some good length here. So you can see there's still some good length there. This is too long for the cows. We want to have it, I don't know, maybe about that long-ish in the bunk. So we need these pieces to be cut in half or in quarters. And that's all done by our feed wagon. And because we're feeding so much alfalfa, we're putting more than a couple of bales in per load. So it's to be able to handle all that baleage, you need a high quality feed wagon like this Supreme mixer here behind me, to be able to size all that baleage up and make a nice uniform mix for the cows. And I think our Supreme does a really good job at that. Makes a nice nice uniform mix, even pieces all the way through the bunk, so that every cow, no matter where she's grabbing a bite to eat, it's the same, which is really important. But wanted to show you guys these bales today. If you guys have questions, comments, post them down below. Appreciate you guys watching, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.